my name is Sarah Franz and I am the Education Program Manager at Artist Boat. Artist Boat is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to promote awareness and preservation of coastal margins and the marine environment through disciplines of sciences and the arts. We aim to connect people to the Gulf Coast environment through mind-opening outdoor experiences.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Sorensen, and I am the Boating Education Manager for Texas Parks and Wildlife. I'm excited today to talk to you a little bit about recreation boating safety and kayaking. When you're on a vessel, there's certain boating laws that you have to follow in order to make sure that you are being safe on the water and that you understand what you're doing when you're out on the water. So, a couple examples of that. We're going to require, when you're out on a kayak, that you wear a life jacket. By law, anyone aged 13 or under is required to wear a life jacket anytime that they're on a boat on our waterways in Texas. Now, even if you're over 13 and you're out there kayaking, we want you to wear your life jacket to be safe because you never know what's going to happen in a kayaking environment. Also by law, we require a couple other pieces of safety equipment if you're going to be out on our waterways. If you're out after dark, you're required to have a bright light or lantern on your boat. This is a 360-degree light, great for the coastal environment on a kayak, and you want to add that onto your boat. Another thing that you need and are required to have when you're out on a vessel is a sounding device, something like a whistle. You can attach this straight to your life jacket, and if you have an emergency, you can sound the whistle and call for help. You can also signal by waving your hands. So there's multiple ways to get someone's attention if you need help out on the waterways. In order to not need help on the waterways, we're going to teach you how to properly paddle your kayak and how to navigate those waterways. So because we're paddling in a coastal environment, you might see certain things out on the waterways. You might see buoys, something like this, a red or a green buoy. This is going to mark the channels, and most of the large boats that are in this environment are going to stay in between these buoys. If you're trying to come from open water to a marina, you want to keep this red buoy on your right side. Red right return will get you back into the channel. Now, because we're paddling kayaks and the large boats stay between these markers, we often paddle just outside of these markers so that we're outside of the path of larger vessels. So, one other thing when you're being safe out on the water, be prepared. You may want to have a first aid kit on your boat. As you get out there and enjoy your time paddling, we want you to remember to wear your life jacket at all times when you're on the water. And we want you to be safe. Learn the skills to be a safe recreation boater and have fun on our waterways.
When joining us for a kayak trip, it's important to wear clothes that are breathable and light and that you can get wet in. It's also important to wear shoes that are suitable for the water and fit securely to your feet. Make sure to bring a bag with extra supplies like sunscreen and bug spray, and also have plenty of water and snacks for the trip. You don't want to wear clothes that you won't be comfortable getting wet in or shoes that don't fit securely to your feet.
When you're getting ready to embark on a kayak adventure, there are several things to be aware of before you go. Making sure you're aware of your surroundings and planning your trip thoroughly will help you have a successful kayak. The most important thing when going on a kayak adventure, whether in a group or alone, is safety. The first safety measure is creating a float plan. A float plan is a plan you can give to someone not in your kayak group that will give them all the necessary information to help in case of an emergency. Let's look at how to check environmental conditions. First, check the tide. Tides, the daily rise and fall of the sea's edge, are controlled by the gravitational forces exerted on the earth by the moon and the sun. We experience 2 sets of high tide and 2 sets of low tide within one 24-hour period. Next, check the wind speed and direction. Know what direction the wind is coming from. It is better to start your trip paddling against the wind so that you have the wind assisting you when you are paddling back to your launch site. Wind creates waves which can result in a challenging and/or dangerous paddling environment for small paddlecraft if the wind speed exceeds 24 knots. Finally, check the weather forecast. If you hear thunder rumble in the distance, it is good to start making your way back to land. Never be out on the water while it is actively lightning. Be sure to plan your route by communicating the direction you'll be traveling and the full distance you're paddling. Bring navigational equipment such as a compass, cell phone, and map.
any water adventure, it is always good practice to have a radio on hand. During eco-art kayak adventures, artist boat educators are required to each have a radio as part of their gear. It is not only helpful for communicating with each other, but also for emergency situations. Very high frequency, or VHF radios, have been around for many years and are the primary means of communication for vessels throughout the United States. Artist Boat uses the ICOM M25 handheld VHF radio. The Artist Boat radios come equipped with a button that automatically changes the channel to channel 16. Channel 16 is monitored by the Coast Guard for emergency situations. If there is an emergency during your kayaking trip, your eco-art educator will send out a distress signal that sounds something like this.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. My name's Maya Sandy. I'm kayaking on the Coastal Heritage Preserve for Artist Boat. I have an injured student and am in need of assistance.
The most important piece of safety equipment is a personal flotation device, or PFD. Your PFD will have 7 points of adjustment. There is 1 adjustable waist buckle, 2 straps on either side, and 2 shoulder straps. Before putting on your PFD, each of these straps must be loosened completely. To loosen the straps, pinch the plastic buckle between 2 fingers and pull while holding on to the strap attached to the PFD and not the tail. You may now put on your PFD. After zipping, the next step is to clip the waist buckle and tighten it properly. To tighten, use your right hand to grip the tail of the strap and pull to the right side. When properly fitted, the buckle should lay around your belly button. Next, you will tighten the 4 side straps. Beginning with the bottom strap on either side, grip the tail and pull forward to tighten at the same time. Next, perform the same procedure on the top side straps. It is helpful to wiggle your arms out towards the side and forward while holding the tails to ensure it is tightened all the way. Lastly, tighten the shoulder straps using the same method. Grab the tail on both sides, pull forward, and wiggle up if necessary. To check for proper fitting, put both of your thumbs under your shoulder straps and gently tug upwards. If the shoulder straps can be raised above your ears, your PFD needs to be tightened. If the straps cannot be tightened anymore, you may need to try a smaller size. If you're having trouble breathing, you may need to loosen your straps or try a larger size.
Here at Artist Boat, there are 3 main pieces of equipment we use to set up our kayak properly: the backrest, the paddle, and the art box. Each of these things is stored in our boathouse. The art box contains watercolor palettes with a brush and a pencil and canvases. They can also be used as a dry box to store other items. Now let's set up our kayak. First, clip each of the 4 clips on your backrest to corresponding rings on either side of the kayak. There are 2 that clip in the front of the backrest and 2 that clip in the back. Next, get both numbered pieces of a paddle and clip them together by pressing the metal button and ensuring it locks into the proper hole on the other piece. Be sure that both paddle blades are in line with each other and not twisted. Lastly, stow your art box at the stern of the boat under the deck lines, ensuring that each piece of equipment is present and secure.
Additionally, the guide boat will have a tow rope clipped to the side and an extra paddle stored at the stern in case one gets lost or broken. At Artist Boat, we launch the kayaks from our boathouse, a location we call Peak. This launch connects to a channel and leads to the West Galveston Bay. This is an active boat channel, so be aware of your surroundings when getting in and out of your boat. After you and your partner pull your kayak all the way into the water, the first step is to stabilize your boat and secure your paddles. The person sitting in the rear seat will board first, then the person in the front. The proper way to board a kayak is to put a hand on the port and starboard side and sit down while holding onto the boat. Once you are sitting, then you can swing your feet onto the kayak. It is also good practice to paddle to the opposite side of the channel until everyone has launched. The first step to proper paddling is holding your paddle in the correct way. Always place your hands along the shaft in a comfortable place with the power face towards you and the tip of the blade upright.
When learning how to paddle, remember the 3 P's: paddle box, power, and posture. When holding your paddle, place your hands in the black squares along the shaft and place the paddle on top of your head. If your hands are properly spaced, your elbows will make a 90-degree angle. This is your paddle box. When paddling efficiently, your power will be generated by your core muscles. Using only your arms and shoulders can make you tired and uncomfortable. Lastly, your posture greatly affects how you paddle. Sitting up straight and finding a comfortable position in the footholds with your knees slightly bent will ensure powerful paddling. Next, let's look at how to propel your boat forward, called a forward stroke. With your hands in the proper position on your paddle, dip the blade into the water at the bow and pull your paddle towards your hips. Repeat this on both sides of the boat. To propel your boat backwards or reverse stroke, dip your blade in the water at the stern and push the paddle to the front. Doing this several times on both sides will also stop or slow your boat. A sweep stroke is the most basic way to turn your kayak. For a forward sweep, the paddle enters the water at the front of the kayak and then is drawn away from the boat and back toward the paddler in an arc. The reverse sweep does the same thing in the reverse direction. The wide arc of the stroke helps push the kayak in one direction or the other. A rudder stroke is used to make a sharp turn. Single kayakers can use this, or the person in the rear seat of a tandem. Simply hold your blade steady in the water on either side of the boat near your seat, and your boat will turn sharply around the paddle. When using a rudder and a sweep stroke simultaneously, they will be done on opposite sides of the boat. Paddling in a tandem kayak is most efficient when the partners paddle in sync, so communication is essential. The rear seat will have the most influence over the boat's maneuvering, so they will be the one to relay instructions. Most often, lack of communication is the cause of capsizing, or the boat flipping over while you are still in it. If this happens, alert your guide of the capsized vessel so they can perform or assist with the proper boat rescue techniques. Often when a boat capsizes, they are close enough to shore to swim to the edge and reboard their boat. However, there are several different techniques we can use to perform a self-rescue or assisted rescue if that is not an option. In the event you have to self-rescue, first secure your paddle. To right your boat, reach one hand under your kayak and grab the far edge of the cockpit. Now simultaneously pull the far edge toward you and push the close edge up and away. Your kayak should roll over relatively easily, even if some water does accumulate in the cockpit. Next, you will use the scramble technique to pull yourself up and into your seat.
We hope you found this video informative and enjoyable. Hopefully you have learned the skills you need to come join us out on the water, and we can't wait to have you out here.